Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Boss Talks. I'm Christine Drummond and I'm here in the flesh with my business partner Joel Lord, and we're in Melbourne today, Joel. We have so many events going on this weekend, but first we wanted to do this podcast and share with you guys something that's been coming up a little bit for us and for the people that we see on an everyday basis as well. And our today's topic is going to be about deciding and committing, okay? And there's a fee for listening to this. If you love this information, if you get value from this, then share it with other people. Share it with people that you feel could benefit from this. Share it on social media. Tag us in it. Tag us in it if you like. We love being tagged in things, don't we? It's weird having you in the room with me today.
It is so weird.
It is so weird. So, Joel, today we are chatting about, making a decision and then committing to that decision. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I've made decisions to do something in my life, when they don't happen, it's because I've broken a promise to myself, or I haven't followed through, or I didn't fully commit. Like we're doing the 75 hard at the moment, and it's quite interesting to see people's excuses. You know, we're part of the bigger group, and we see a lot of excuses in the bigger group, the worldwide group, of why people didn't make the 75 days. But I know you and I, from day one, we made the decision to do the 75 hard and we committed to it, and we haven't let anything waver us from that decision. We didn't just dip our toe in and go, let's do the 75 hard, let's make it to like day 20 and we'll see how we're going. If we're going okay, we'll do another 20 days. Like we literally just said we're doing it no matter what. And have there been times that we've been challenged? Absolutely. Have there been times where we've had to readjust things? Absolutely. But because we were so committed in the beginning to seeing it through, the excuses haven't even come up for us, because we haven't needed to make any, because we are so focused on the end result and where we want to be. And we're going to share a lot of stories in today's podcast, because we want you guys to get better at making decisions and seeing them through. I think so often, especially in this day and age, we get distracted by life and we get distracted by shiny objects, that we just stop the commitment, the consistency. We stop working on things that we really want. So, Joel, what are you seeing out there, and what's your experience around this?
I am seeing everyone carrying on what the little like nursery rhyme they learnt in kindergarten called the HokeyPokey, where they put one foot in, one foot out, and they can't commit to anything. They want to foot in both camps, and when things get tough, you know, they want to jump out. They want to have both feet out, and you know that's just why there's people like they're sitting on the fence. They're not even committing one way or the other in a lot of cases. So at least some people we've seen have like said, okay, we're going to give it a go. But like for me, the 75 hard was, I shut the door on excuses. There was no way. Like if I had to stay up like for 24 hours or 36 hours just to get it done, because technically the day doesn't end until you go to bed. So if I missed out, I would have just stayed up. Like if something happened like today where we couldn't have done it, and like we had excuses, like you've driven for hours to get to Melbourne and I've flown in from the Gold Coast. Like we could have had so many excuses. And, you know, like we see groups, we're in groups where people like, can we get some tips and tricks about how to make this easier? It's like, first of all, it's not the 75 easy, and it's not the do it when you feel like it, like the 75 do it when you feel like it, and it's not the 10 like make some compromises. It's literally called the 75 hard, and like people just want the easy way out, and they're just so like great at just making excuses. And like I feel for them, because it's just the way society has come, you know, like, and to go off on a tangent, like, you know, like 8th place trophies, like, come on. Like when you were, you know what? I was dirty on myself getting silver at the national athletics. Like I got silver, like this, I just couldn't keep up in the hurdles with this guy. He had me, right?
Yeah.
And he beat me by like about a meter. And I was like, God damn it. Like if I'd have just trained that little bit harder, and like I'm training so hard that I'm like spewing at training, but you know, it just goes back to.
It's funny you say that because I was kicking the footy and the park where we were, there was a ribbon for 4th place. And I'm like, oh, when did this come in? Like it was a white ribbon. So I know that you have blue, red, green,
and
now there's a white for 4th place.
No, not in my land. Like it was like you win and
participation.
No,
you're not into that.
No, thank you. Like go in and like look. I didn't win. Like I just told you I got silver, but like I can actually even today still be proud of myself then because like I got off the track and I basically was either going to pass out or throw up. Like, you know, when you're standing up, you're going to pass out, and if you lay down, you're going to get sick.
Yeah.
I left everything on that track.
Yeah.
Like everything. And that guy just beat me that day. Like, do you see the person that comes second, like when Djokovic and Federer are playing the Grand Slam final, like, do you think that, you know, whoever comes second isn't dirty on themselves? Like they get millions of dollars regardless, but you know what I mean? But those guys have committed. You know, and committed harder than anyone else. And there's just no excuses. Like, you know, no workarounds, you know, and there's so much out there saying that, you know, finding like people just want hacks because they don't want to do the work. Like I saw that Gary Vee said that today, and I've been listening to Andy Vasilla a lot on his podcast on the flight down. And that's what's wrong. Like people just want the secret hack, the secret that they think no one else is telling them. You know, in our health and wellness company, there's people at the top that are making millions of dollars, and everyone that comes in at some stage thinks that there's some secret that they're not being told, and they get taken into a secret room when they get to a certain like earnings level, and they get told the secret. Yeah. Except the secret was blood, sweat, and tears, and doing the damn work and commitment. You know, and that's the problem. Like committing and then keeping that promise, because like. How many people have you spoken to that go, yeah, I'm all in, and then they just disappear?
Oh, I'll give you an example actually, because I put on social media just recently that I was going to do this 100-day digital detox. And so many people were so excited. I need this. Yep, I'm in. I want to do this. Guess how many people saw it through?
You. So it's probably about it. It's probably about it.
We're on about day 25. And I don't know what, I had all 100 days nearly scheduled, right? So the posts were coming up. So we're on about day 25. Not one person has seen it through. And I think I've missed one, which was the karaoke. I found it really hard finding a karaoke place to go and do karaoke. But you know what? Like no one, like people have this glitter of inspiration. And because they don't decide and commit, they just go, okay, that's just another thing that I've let go, you know, and then we start beating ourselves up, and then we start going, it's kind of like we're talking ourselves out of it already.
But do they beat themselves up? Because people like you and I beat ourselves up a bit and go, oh my God, I should have committed, and we're hard on ourselves and that. I just see people that are just happy, they're okay with it. They're totally okay with it. I'm just like, how could you be okay with that?
Well, I think it's because they've got the mentality that they know their behavior already, that they're like, I'll give it a go, but I'll probably quit because that's what I do. You know what I mean? Like they're already talking themselves out of things because they know that that's just their pattern and their behavior. So that's what I'm seeing and you know, and I know I've been guilty of that in the past as well. I've totally done that and talked myself out of things because I've either never done it, never achieved it, or that I can't be asked, seen it through. Let's be honest. Like we're a lazy race. We are absolutely lazy, and we will look, something that you said in the beginning, we will look for the quickest, easiest way. We will look for the the shortcuts wherever we can. So I think it's important that we start taking a look at some of the behaviors, some of the patterns that are coming up for each of us. And, you know, I know what quitting looks like, and I do beat myself up about it. You know, I remember quitting a job once. I threw in the towel at this. I used to work in Canberra. I can't even remember what the place is called. I lasted 2 weeks. and then I quit. It was probably the first thing in my life that I ever quit. I remember going home that day and I bawled my eyes out to my roommates, and I was just like, this is the first thing I've ever quit. This is the first thing I've never seen through. I was devastated, absolutely devastated. But like, there's lessons in it all. So we got to learn the lessons and grow from the experience. So let's tell some stories. When was a time where you kind of half-assed committed? Like you had this idea, this decision, this thought, and you thought, I'll give it a crack, and then you didn't see it through.
Well, I don't think there's not many times where at the front end I've said, like when I've committed to something that I've actually felt like, oh yeah, I'm actually going to half-ass this. I actually go in with the intent to do it, but I just don't think, I think the times, like for example, my weight, I've done the 75 hard, like I've been really heavy in my time, and I got the weight right down because I had a massive why. Like I attach it to like, quality of life and longevity to be around my son, like when because he's 18 nearly now, but he was going to be 10 years old. I was thinking, wow, he's a decade old and it's gone that quick, and I committed hardcore. Then I got really, really healthy, and then, fit. And over since then, with the disaster in my finance at one stage, I thought, yeah, I'm healthy enough. I'm just going to I've got to focus on my finances and getting myself back. And what happened there was, I just didn't get back on the wagon. And then there's been another time where I've got injured, and I thought, that's actually what happened to me last year. I was doing the 75 hard. I was getting my physique back the way I wanted it. And, I just said, I'm injured. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I never take weeks off. I usually just work through injuries. I thought, I'm turning 40. I better be smarter about it. And I'll give this a go, because it was really psycho. It was bad.
Yeah.
But then, since then I hadn't committed. I committed, but I hadn't seen it through. I'm like, yep, I'm definitely doing this. And then you lose your willpower after a certain amount of time. So that's why I've come back and done the 75 hard, because I remembered that was where I got the most momentum. So around my health, I didn't have a big enough why. Freedom was my biggest goal. It was my highest value. And, it wasn't until I spoke to my coach and he said, well, freedom. He goes, okay, what is it about putting health as your top value that makes you feel that you're going to have less freedom? And just that powerful question, I just went, wow, nothing. I'm going to be more free if I look after my health. Wow. And then 75 hard happened, and I'm a lot lighter now, and I'm back to, I'm going to do 5Ks of stairs in a couple of days' time. I've already been doing that. Getting the compliments about, the change in my appearance and everything like that. So, but yeah, throughout my life, So that's one time where I've committed, and I've committed many, many times, and it hasn't been a big enough why.
Well, I think you mentioned something really important there, and it's asking yourself more empowering questions. Maybe if you give this thing a go and you do pull it off, if we stop talking down on ourselves all the time and talking ourselves out of things just because we haven't achieved them before, but what if we could actually do it? What would that look like? How would that make us feel if we actually pulled it off? What if we could get rid of the fear and just dive in there, take the risk? And, an example of this was my daughter went in her first swimming race this year, and she was looking all confident walking up, and then they've announced her name over the speaker, and then the nerves kicked in and the fear at the same time, and she immediately turned and ran back to Tom, to her dad, and just started bawling, saying, I'm not going to do it, I can't do it, I'm too scared. Anyway, so then you have to kind of kick in and say, okay, well, you don't have to do this race, but if you don't do the race, how's that going to make you feel? Are you going to feel regret that you didn't do it when you could have, had your best effort? Or what if this fear isn't actually real and you just gave it a go and it actually wasn't that bad? And you've got a friend here, the race that she was in, there was only 2 of them in it because they were the youngest in the class. And I said to her, you know, you've got to be there for your friend. Otherwise she's going to be racing this event by herself. And immediately when I took the focus off how she was feeling and made it about her friend and how she could serve her friend in that moment, then she was like, okay, you're right. I need to be there for my friend.
Yeah.
And when she finished the race, she was like, Mum, that wasn't that bad. And I was like, this is the lesson that you need to learn for later on in life, darling, is that things may appear scary because you haven't done them before, but once you do them, like that's the first step to, you know, just even making the decision and having the courage to go, okay, well, I'm going to give it a go. Yes, I'm scared, but I'm going to give it a go. And I know this gets thrown around all the time. Just do something every day that scares you. And people, you're probably sick of hearing people say that all the time. And I don't think you need to do something every single day that scares you, but you do need to be pushing your boundaries. You do need to be pushing your limits, because how are you going to know what you're capable of if you don't challenge yourself? If you just keep playing within that comfort zone, you're not going to grow. You're probably going to miss out on experiences. You're probably going to miss out on your brilliance because you haven't actually crossed that line before, because you've been too scared. Or it could even be that you're scared of external influences and what people, you know, fear of being judged. When did we get so freaking scared about what people would think of us? I don't know when that came in. Like, why are we so scared of that? I just don't.
Well, I'm reading a book, Laws of Success, and there's 6 primal fears that all humans feel. And the fear of like judgment, criticism is one of them. And even he says he doesn't know where humans picked that up. He's like, you know, think about this, like even in those days, he's like men will wear tight hats that make them go bald to stay in fashion. Women will spend hundreds of dollars to buy another hat one season after they've already got a perfectly good hat. And he says, and to prove it, I dare you to go get last year's hat out and walk it down the street. So you won't, because you got the fear of criticism. So it's huge. But you know, one of the things I'm going to be saying at an event we're putting on here, I'm going to ask the attendants, like, you know, who here is going to make $1 million this year? And like, I already know the answer. Some might put their hand up, you know, some might not. And, you know, but most of them are going to go no, and they're not going to say like that. And I'm going to say, okay, so you know, you've got kids, you've got loved ones. Let's just say one of them's sick and you need to, the only way you can get the life-saving surgery is to make $1 million. Who would go get that $1 million immediately? And I know everyone's going to say, absolutely. And it just reminded me of what you were saying about like what you'll do more for someone else than you'll do for yourself. Well, far out. Like it's the fact that you will jump so hard in that you will get the $1 million to save someone else's life, like your kid's life. That shows that in your mind it's possible. So if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So why not go for it? And do that and commit to it. Like to get that $1 million for your family member, how committed are you? You're 100% committed. You've shut the door in. I tell you, the feeling that it brings up when I think about that and think about my kids, it's so similar to the feeling I have about doing the 75 hard. Like I'm that committed, like that. And I guess like one of the things when I was training for the stairs that we're going to be doing as well, or that I'm doing, is like when I was absolutely knackered, I was like, if I had to run one more flight of stairs, the only way to save my youngest son was to, run another flight of stairs, would I run it? And I was like, absolutely. And I just did it. And like my body, my mind, everything, he was just going, sit down, Joel. You are done. It was telling me, oh, this is dangerous. This is crazy. You're going to black out. You're going to do this. But guess what? I freaking did it. I'm proud of myself. I didn't die. So if my mind or my little bitch voice or whatever you want to call it was telling me the truth, I would be dead. Or I would be in an ambulance, or I would have fallen down the stairs, or something would have happened. But I didn't, because I committed at that level. You need to commit. And something massive that I learned from an amazing business owner, he said, Joel, 99.99% commitment is 100% sabotage. You must be all in or you're all out. There's no between. It gets back to the HokeyPokey. It's all that sort of stuff. So and I think it's not so much the result, is it? Because one of my friends, she
she wrote a book about how to earn $1 million in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't quite make the $1 million, but she made the decision, she made the commitment, and she got further along than had she not even made that decision. So it's not about the results sometimes, guys. It's about the journey. And let's say you do want $1 million this year. Like, imagine if you ended up with 500,000. Imagine if you ended up with 300,000. That's 300,000 more than what you're probably even thinking about at the moment. You're not putting any focus into it. So once you have the idea, and we've spoken about this before, like any journey to success is you have the thought, the idea first, and then you've got to attach the emotion to it. So how are you actually going to feel when you get that $1 million, if that's what it is? Or let's you guys are probably thinking about maybe starting your own business, but you've been putting it off because the fear around it. Like, just take that first step. Just commit, decide, and commit to it. Some other things, maybe it's buying a house. You know, maybe you've been researching for 5 years and you just like need to take that first step, decide, and then commit. Whatever it is, guys, attach the emotion to it. I think that's where people, they skip that step.
How much emotion did I connect with yourself even here when I asked, like, would you make $1 million to save your daughter?
Yeah.
There was heaps of emotion.
You immediately drop out of your head into your heart.
Yeah, straight away. And that's like inspired emotion. You're like, I don't care if there's a brick wall, I'm running through it. There's nothing going to stop me from doing it. That's 100% commitment. And you're so freaking true, because you know what? Everyone, like all the listeners, everyone, you, myself, we would spend $1 million to find out the secret to like success, right? Like people spend millions, but they don't like the answer when it's given to them. Like we're giving you the answer today on this call, and you know, people spend millions of dollars going around the world learning from the best. At the end of the day, it's commitment, inspired action, do the work. It's all these things we've been harping on about for the last like 52 episodes. Like it's crazy, right?
And I truly believe that if you're listening to this podcast and you're not where you want to be, or you don't have the level of success that you want, and a lot of you listening don't even know what you want. Like, you haven't even thought about what it is you actually want or what success actually looks like for you. So how can you decide and commit to it if you don't actually know? So, but I feel like a lot of the listeners, Joel, will be not where they want to be because they didn't decide on something or a course of action or you know, which way to go, and they didn't fully commit. And if you go back through your life, through your journey, and look at everything that you ever made a decision on that you didn't follow through, it's because the commitment wasn't there. And I look back at all the things for me, like I wanted to be an NBL, a WNBL player, which is the women's basketball. It's the highest league here in Australia. And I wanted to do that, but I was externally influenced. I got told that it wouldn't pay the bills. You know, female sports people you don't get paid. So it's not a good career choice. Well, I watched one of my friends go on to play for the WNBA and carve it up in that profession. And she definitely paid the bills. Like, you know what I mean? So, but I made the decision that that's what I wanted. I was externally influenced, and then I didn't commit because of the fear that was instilled in me. And rather than following my dream and my passion, and this is what happens, guys. Now, as a parent, once you have kids, you kind of got to challenge your thoughts and your beliefs and what's been passed down from generation to generation. I don't care what my kids do if it's their passion. If it's what it lights them up, and I will back them 100%. And I feel as parents, our greatest gift that we can give our kids is for them to see us pursuing our passions. And if we don't do that, and then we contradict ourselves and we go and say to them, oh, you got to go do your passion, do what makes you happy. And then they're looking at us miserable, stuck in a job that we hate around toxic people. But here we are pushing them out the door, go, make sure you follow your dreams and, you know, live your passion and what brings you joy. Guys, that's not the way to do it. What is your passion? What do you want to be doing? What lights you up? Okay. And by us doing that, we then give our kids permission to do the same. But if we don't, And we show our kids that, well, this is reality of life. Like, you got to go get a shitty job, work with toxic people. That's just life, guys. Go to uni, go get a shit job with someone for 20, 30 years and just stick it out. And then hopefully you get a nice superannuation. I don't even know if superannuation will be around when our kids are around, but you know what I mean? Like, we've got to, like, I don't know, what are we, like halfway, maybe a little less than halfway through our life. We're trying to get to 100. I'm trying to get to 100.
I'm going to 120.
120.
I'm working it out. The 75 hard's going to get me there.
Yeah. And I still want to be running long distances well into my 80s and 90s, you know, so I don't know, like, you've got to decide, you've got to commit. And if you don't, then of course you're going to have more failures than successes. And go back to the last time that you succeeded in something. And I bet you it was because you made the decision and then you committed. And you had this unwavering belief that you could do it. If you just applied that to anything and just gave it your best, even if you don't make the result, you're still going to fall further forward than had you not gone for it in the first place. And I think money, it's just an easy topic to talk about in regards to this. So many people don't even know what kind of money they want in the bank account. And so many people are blasé about it. Like, what does it look like? Where do you want this money to come from? If you want to be wealthy and you're just working 9 to 5, it's probably not going to happen. But if you want to be wealthy and you're willing to take risks, you're willing to invest, you're willing to do other streams of income, then you're more likely to be wealthy. But you have to get clear. Like, what kind of wealth do you want to have? What's wealthy to you? What is wealthy to us is going to be different to what's wealthy to some of you listeners, because Joel and I, we're legacy people. We want to leave legacies. We want to have a massive impact globally. So $1 million isn't going to cut it for us. We need millions, if not billions of dollars to do some of the stuff that we want to do for other people. So, you know, when you've got a vision and a passion and a purpose that pulls you like that, it's very easy to be able to decide and commit, because it's not about us anymore. It's bigger than us. So I don't know. I think a lot of people out there are just floating through life and not really thinking about what it is they actually want, all the impact you can make. And a lot of you are not even playing to your strengths. You don't even know what your strengths are. And I think that's the other thing too, Joel, is really uncovering, well, what are we actually good at that is in alignment with who we are, our values, where we want to be, and all that. So I don't know.
Well, you're gonna like, we're between goals right now. Like, you've been successful, just like anyone listening to this. You've been successful, and you're moving towards another goal, right? Well, eventually, between attaining a goal and going for another goal, you're going to die one day. Like, do you want something awesome to talk about when you go to the next plane of existence, or do you want to, like, they're going to, oh, what were you up to before you died? Oh, yeah, I was just, like, trying to pay the phone bill. Like, do you want to be that boring? Like, you know, and something you said, like, really fired me up. Like, people are out there and they're worried about, you know, being satisfied where they're at, or they're not going to get it. Like, I actually think that I'm happily dissatisfied in most things, you know. Like, I'm like, well, how can I get better? I'm always looking for that growth. And, you know, the intention of the universe is for everything inside the universe, and that's everything, is to grow to its highest true potential. So if you're under pressure and you're not feeling great, it's maybe because you need to do some growing. And that's, like, I attached mistakes to growth and learning something. So when I stuff up now, like, and I'm telling you, I was not like this all along. Like, it took an intervention by at a Tony Robbins event by Joseph McClellan to sort this out, because I was Mr. Perfectionist. So I wouldn't, like, I was very successful, but I was like so hard on myself, and I was still never satisfied. But because of that fear of what other people would think and needing to never make a mistake, that was, like, what I was worried about. I didn't even start. Yeah. Like, I would not even go in and give it a go. And, you know, we're talking about Tony Robbins. There was a time where he was a fat 400-pound, 5'7" guy that couldn't, like, was washing his dishes in his bath. Like, you know, if you've been to any of his events, you've heard that. Like, Warren Buffett was not always rich.
Getting back to Tony, and sorry to cut you off, he just had his 60th birthday and raised $15 million at his 60th birthday for a charity.
Yeah.
Like, that's impact, guys. Yeah. From a 400-pound man who was overweight and depressed, and like that's insane.
Do you remember his story?
Mm-hmm.
He actually goes. He was getting shit because he stunk at work. he got shit and he came home and he was really upset, and he looked in his fridge. There was no food. It was like moldy food or something like that. And he looked at himself and went, wow. And that was his mate. Drew the line in the sand. He went out and he was bawling his eyes out, and he was running like a fat guy.
Yeah.
And he just ran for like some crazy amount of distance. I was like, wow, that's a long way for a fat guy. And he's crying his eyes out going, I am fucking unstoppable. And he's just saying that over and over and over. And I dare you to actually try that. Have you ever tried that where you've gone for a run and you said, I'm effing unstoppable, and you just keep on repeating, I am unstoppable, I am unstoppable?
No.
I bet you do a personal best, because if you, like, I've done it when I've had down times, I've gone, I can't be like this. And I thought, well, what did Tony Robbins do? So I went out and I just modeled success, and you really come back believing that, like, you can change the world. So, like, if that strategy is so easy, why don't we do it more? I'm thinking, why don't I do it more often? Like, so it's there. That's why the stories are so powerful, because I've remembered that.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But what it took was that line in the sand. He committed. He made the decision, then he committed to the decision, and then he took inspired action. He went out running, which started to get him results, and then he just repeated it. Yeah. And now he's how much did he raise? Like 15 million bucks.
At one event, 160th event.
Like, seriously, from a decision he made, like 50 years ago, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, he made that decision that he was fucking unstoppable. And he drew the line in the sand. He did what we've been, like, literally telling you guys about for the last, like, 52 episodes, and what we're using to get our level of success, and we can dial that up. We can dial it up. But, like, that's what he did. And then 40 years later, 15 million bucks in one night, like, and we can, like, I can tell similar stories about Grant Cardone. I can tell similar stories about like Jeff Bezos starting his garage completely broke. He gave $98 million to charity. And you know what? The media ripped him apart and said, why didn't you give 100? They literally did. That's the mentality of the world. It was to a single charity. He gave $98 million, like Warren Buffett giving pledged half of his wealth to, the Melinda Gates and Bill Gates Foundation. Yes. They've given half that. And, like, I don't know, like, making $100 billion sounds like it would be quite challenging. These guys keep giving half of it away and getting it back. Yeah. Like, holy crap. Like, Microsoft just went over the $1 trillion mark. Yeah, wow. It's like, it's a huge deal. Like, and that's that, like, and you know what? I know, not our listeners, but there are other people out there would be going, oh, rich pricks and all these things, and have a negative out. Like, I look at them and go, oh my God, I'm so inspired. I hope they get to 2 trillion. I'm so inspired, because if they can do it, I can do it. People like, totally. Imagine just getting, imagine if you went and said, oh, okay, I want to build $100 billion company that impacts the world. Like, imagine a world without computers. Like, that's Bill Gates. Imagine a world without Apple. Like, I know people can be negative towards it.
Or airplanes.
Airplanes, and, steel companies, Ford Motor companies, like all that sort of stuff. But, people, like, look at that. Well, what if we went and made that kind of impact? And that's what we shot for. And like you said before, what if you only got 10% of 100 billion? What if you only got 1% of that? What if you only got 1% of a percent of that? That's still a game changer. At least when it is your turn to move on to the next plane of existence, you can go, wow, I really swung the freaking bat. Because that, oh my God, that's my nightmare. I had this thing from Gary Vee on my phone from pretty much the day after I decided to get my shit back together after I was like flattened financially, that regret scares the shit out of me. Like, oh, could you imagine getting on your deathbed and you know that there is actually no more time, and that shit you could have committed, which would have totally changed the trajectory of your life, not just your life, but the people that you're leaving behind, your kids. Imagine, even worse, you got regret there. Imagine looking at your kids and going, oh, look at them. Yep, they're like they're living a shitty life. They're settling, and I'm just about to die. I can't do anything about that. There's another generation of people that are just like no hopers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that would, it's getting pretty dark, but that's what I think. And that's the leverage I've got on myself that, hey, that's not okay. That's as bad as needing that life-saving surgery. That's why we need to make $1 million in a year, because we need to show the next generation they can do it, because I don't know. Like you said, don't know if superannuation is going to be around, and I don't know if the government in a lot of cases could run the school canteen. So
and the world's full of sheeple, really, isn't it? And no hopers. So we've got enough of those. So let's see what happens when you do actually decide. And on closing, I guess, like, you're only one decision away from a totally different life. And I truly believe that. And you guys need to believe it. Like, you need to believe that you are full of amazing ideas and inspiration. And, you know, we often get complimented for the inspiration that we give, and but you can't see something in someone else that you haven't seen in yourself. So you guys have got it within you. There's an inner greatness in there. There's a beast ready to be unleashed. You just have to find that thing, that idea, that thought, that decision, and then go all in, guys. Go all in and see what happens. You'll be so surprised by how your life changes, how that self-evolution process that we're all on, how that turns out, and the confidence that you get from it as well, and the doors that start to open. When you start backing yourself and committing to these things, your whole outlook on the world will change. Yeah. What do you want to close with?
Well, look, guys, I know we've given you both barrels today, and like sometimes you need it. I actually like it when I get both barrels given to me, because it's like the truth will set you free, you know, and it is never the goal. It's always the journey and the person you become on the way to the goal that is important. It's the growth, like I say, the growth. And, you know, like what you need to do, honestly, if you want a strategy to get this right and make this easier for yourself, and I know I'm like, because it's not going to be easy, but I want to show you a strategy really quickly that's going to make this happen for you. What you need to do is pick the goal, know where you are, know what the goal is, and just know what the first step is. And every time you take that step, you need to do it with inspired celebration, and celebrate anything that you do approximately right, and find what's great about this. Because when you feel happy and positive, you've already won. Like, that's what people don't get. When you can be happy no matter what, and you can, even if you make a mistake, you can say, what's great about this? And you're going to like attach positivity to it, and your brain is going to start working for you and pushing you towards your goal. But you've already won. The second you create a goal in your mind, you celebrate, you're already happy. So it's not the goal, it's that you're happy, because, you know, like, the purpose of your life is to be happy.
Yeah.
It's not to make $1 million. It's to be happy. And that's all we need to do. So if you can be happy now, like, set the goal, and the worst case scenario, even if you totally mess the goal up, but you've learned how to be happy immediately with the fact that you're moving forward with growth, you've won. You've already won the game, and then the rest is just icing on the cake. So that's what I want to leave them with. So
boom. My friend dropped. You were on fire today, by the way. I just want to, you know, wasn't he, listeners? He's on fire. Got fire in the belly, burning bright. Anyway, another episode done. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.
See ya.
Damn. Yeah.